B to the is A.
What up, y'all? We are back on OG Logic episode 11. Fitness fighting
11.
and situational awareness.
Yep.
I put fitness fighting
11,
and situational awareness.
That's like almost 3 months coming up. 11 episodes.
Oh man. Yeah, you're right though. That's actually could be like one show each.
We're getting there.
Soon.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Man.
Oh yeah, let me turn on these comments so I can see. Oh, there ain't none. Yeah, okay. Never mind.
Yeah, I think we're kind of empty right now. We'll let a few people filter in.
Yeah.
But how do I view this on YouTube? I need to like send
out
the link.
Whatever network you're on right now is a lot clearer.
Yeah, I switched to the cable. It's still wireless, but it's better than my previous one. You know, I gotta.
Yeah. No, it looks much better right now.
All right, awesome. So what's been up, guys? What have I been missing?
What have you been missing?
Yeah, what's been going on in the world?
I don't know. They're having fire tornadoes in California.
Whoa, fire tornadoes!
Yeah, fire tornadoes made out of fire.
That was very apocalyptic.
Yeah, right. Like, didn't Moses like talk to something like that? Like, you get a message from God, something like that. You know, I know it trips me out, man. But that's a thing, and apparently it happened in a couple different spots in California.
Yeah.
Congratulations, husband. New marriage. Who's that?
That's you know what? I'm like trying to send out this link, so I'm not even looking. That's my wife. She's congratulating me on the third wife.
When did this happen?
This weekend. Man. I'm back in instant. So
hey,
here's the thing.
Asking us what's new. Hold on.
I'm back in instability mode. It's like number 3 has always been my sticking point, and I'm like, man, this is really like blown up into a huge drama, man. The women have all lost their minds. So you know, I gotta get some homeostasis back in place, but it'll work out, inshallah. It's just they're all losing their heads, man. They were really like
wow. Yeah, you were asking the wrong person what's going on, man. Congratulations, though. You know, what you want, good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
It's been rough.
Oh, man,
it's been rough though.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. Now, I can't even begin to speculate on something like that because I'm just not in that. I'm not in that life. You know what I mean? So it's like anything that I would say, like, oh, I think that it wouldn't matter what I think. Like, it's not. You know, it'd be like what I think about, you know, nuclear physicists or something like that. It's like, what do I know? You know.
Yeah.
But I could just imagine that. That dealing with 3 different personalities isn't the easiest thing in the world, you know.
Not only personalities. We always know that, man. I'm ashed on my hands. What happened? We always know that that women are also emotional. So it's like really like it's not only dealing with personalities. It's like 3 different sets of emotions coming from 3 different directions, man. 3 different angles, bro. This could be a whole show on its own. This entire like blow back and blow out, you know.
Was it a surprise to them, or was it?
I kind of sprung it on everybody. I mean, my wife that's in the chat right now, she was like, she found out on Twitter.
Okay.
I dropped the ball there. I won't lie, I kind of dropped that ball. You know, I wasn't even paying attention, and I was just like, yeah. She was rightfully upset. I'll give that to her. You know, I'm not big on like taking a hard time from women, but she was upset, rightfully so. You know, I mean, it's like,
well, accountability, you know.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Like, as far as so the new wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does she like instantly get moved in somewhere? Like, I mean, like, is she like there, or is it like, okay, let me get you set up somewhere and you'll be like, how does that work?
Well, this one basically is like they want to move in instantaneously. But I got a lot of stuff on my plate. Like, my current wife, the one in the chat, she she's in another country, and I've been working hard to get her over here. So it's like, a lot of stuff has to happen. It's kind of
yeah.
It's
and that's fair. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I mean, if you're waiting your turn or whatever, it's like, I can get that.
But, it's clear to everybody.
Yeah. Which, if you don't mind me asking, which country is your wife in that's in the chat?
UAE, the Emirates. UAE.
Oh shoot! Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, she has like a non-Western passport, and I've got some solutions and whatnot. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, future trunks. I got a solution and whatnot. It just needs to take action. The COVID and all this stuff, man. It's just been messing with everything, bro. So it's really like it's been just a bombshell year for everybody, on an individual and a collective. It's just really it's been rough, man. I mean. On all of us.
When are you guys going to give dawah to Bobby? What's dawah?
I mean, call you to Islam to become a Muslim.
Oh boy. Yeah. Hey, look, I got a lot more respects than my ancestors did for that. we're about about 1,000 years past that. You know what's a trip is that people talk about like and this is only because it came up right now, otherwise I wouldn't even be bringing this up, but people talk about how all the Crusades and all this and all that, and they make it to where that's like still the present mindset between Christian and Muslim, and for some people it is, especially like in the Protestant religions. Like, I mean, with Protestant religions, Catholics and Muslims are basically lumped into the same boat, to where like we're like the Antichrist, the whore of Babylon, we're this and that, because Catholics get talked a lot of crap on. But if you look at the Catechism of the Catholic Church, it actually acknowledges for Jews and Muslims alike that there is a place in God's plan for these two faiths, okay? And that because it used to be the thing where it's like, oh, if you're not Christian, you're going to hell. Like that was the old school, that's like that old school Christian teaching, like fire and brimstone. So where the Catechism actually acknowledges where it's like, you can't say that Muslims and Jews are just going to hell, because they were an intricate beginning and part of God's plan. The church is much more eloquent than I in putting it, but it's kind of cool to realize, because a lot of people that aren't studied on it just automatically assume right off the top, they're like, "Oh, the Crusades, bro," and like so they think like it's like enemies, and it's like, no, it's not. That's not an official church doctrine, at least not a Catholic one. Like I said, I've had plenty of Protestant Christians tell me that my church is the whore of Babylon. I needed to come out of her, come out of her, like they're trying to cast out a spirit or something, like crazy stuff. So I mean, I could only imagine, what they think about other faiths too.
The Quran, in many parts, speaks quite positively about Christians. Says that many of them are humble. The verses Abu I'm talking about.
Yeah. It says in the Quran that when it comes to love of the Muslims, you'll find that the Christians are the closest in love to the Muslims. It's because they have priests and they are people without pride. They're humble people. And this is I think it's in Surah Ma'idah or Surah Al-Baqarah. I forget which one.
And by the way, when it's talking about that in the Quran, they're talking about Catholics. Because I'm straight up, because first of all, the schism, right? The what they call the Great Schism in Christian theology didn't happen until around 1100 or AD 1100, and that was when you had the break between the Catholic Church and the Orthodox Church. Up until then, people weren't called Catholic; they were just called Christians. You know, but once you had that, and then in the 1500s you had the Martin Luther and Protestant Reformation and all that, then there became distinctions. All right, Catholic, Christian, whatever, because all Catholic is it's kataholos in Greek, which just means of the whole. Is that?
I actually heard also. I thought it was my sound. I turned off my mixers and all this stuff. I actually thought it was my microphone, but there actually is like some sort of like I don't know how to explain it. There's something in the background with your sound.
Maybe it's got to be something with this. Here, let me go out and I'll try and come back in.
Okay, bro.
Uh-huh.
Well, everybody left. What the heck? Well, here I am by myself. Oh man, that drama on my Twitter, guys. Oh my goodness, that was crazy. I know everybody saw that drama on my Twitter. That's just nuts, man. These women, man. They're like children, bro. They're like petulant children. Sometimes you got to treat my children. You know, and I did that follow-up tweet. This sister asked me about it. You know, she's been following me for a while. Actually, I still hear it. Do you hear that? A little echo in my when I talk?
Not really.
I'm still hearing it. Weird. He said, "Lol, reading the drama now." Yeah, it's crazy. And I told the sister this story about when I was a kid. My dad bought me like the PlayStation, that original, like, you know, little tiny PlayStation thing. I don't know if it was the PS1 or if it was just called a PlayStation. I don't know what it's called. Yeah, Deets Dynamite. I think it's StreamYard, man. I don't know what it is. If it's Bobby and it's mine, then it has to be StreamYard. I don't think there's much we can do about it. So yeah, when I was a kid, I had this PlayStation, and I used to freak out like all kids do, you know, playing these games, and then you get mad and you start screaming and cussing and all this stuff. And my dad used to always come in and he was like, "Hey, look, man, you need to chill out with you know, with the screaming and hollering and going crazy on the game console." And he told me this like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. You know, he was actually extra patient with me, and so sound processing to fix it. Yeah, I'll turn it off in a second here. I actually tried that earlier. So then
it's still doing it.
You know, actually mine's doing it too. I'm talking and I can hear it. It's weird. I think it's just StreamYard. So okay. So one day I freak out. My dad comes in. He just grabs that PlayStation. He you know, dashes it against the wall into a bunch of pieces. And it was years before I got a game console again. So the new PlayStation came out eventually. I forgot which one, and we got it. And you know, I never freaked out on that dang PlayStation again. I learned a valuable lesson. And so I took my father's lesson today, and I exercised it with my wife. You know, and I was like, you know. I'm like, you know, we got 5 kids in this house, man. We got a bunch of kids. And so, you know, she's got enough to do without posting on social media and whatnot. She's got enough to focus on. So, you know, her social media rights have been revoked for some time, you know, quite a long time. When I decided to go ahead and get her a laptop and, you know, phones again, then I'm quite sure she'll use internet more responsibly. If not, rights will be revoked again. I could have taken the old school Logic way and just been like, "Dow," smacked her, but then, you know, that's not my way, you know. So, you know, it's just, you know, she's a good woman, but you know, she like all women, they've got their little triggers, and sometimes they need to understand limits. You know, nobody really. If you're not gonna do it, then what's gonna happen? You know, you're gonna end up in divorce. You know, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he says the woman, he said she's the bent rib, you know, the ribs in your body. He said she's the bent rib. And he says, and if you try and straighten it, you'll break it. And by this, he intended, the scholars have said, you'll end up in divorce. It says, and if you leave it, it will remain bent. So, you know, my options are divorce or like this. So, yeah. And I never advocate a person to divorce.
I'm hearing the echo while you're talking too.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
Freaking annoying as hell. Yours is gone. I'm gonna try and turn off my audio processing and see if that helps. Yeah, I don't know if that helps.
Hello.
Oh, actually, I think it does.
Oh shoot, it sure did. Oh no, wait.
I don't know what it is. It's not you. It's just sort of like it's Streamlabs, man.
Do I have video processing on my side?
Audio processing. If you go down to the settings where it says cam and mic, and you press audio, and then it'll say disable audio processing. Maybe it'll help. I don't know.
Default AirPods speaker. Okay, how about now? Is it all right?
You know, Abu Future Trunks, maybe we should do a show on this separately. I mean, we're here to talk about, like, you know, fitness fighting and situational awareness, but I will take the time to answer your question and say, you answered your own question. Your mom used to hide your PlayStation for months if I misbehaved. You know, this woman, she's in the house more than I am. I work, you know, and so if I hide anything in the house, it's just a very short matter of time before she finds it. So, you know. So that stuff had to go full time.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so
shit.
fitness fighting and situational awareness. Man,
Yeah.
I think we could all talk about fitness, man. That's something we all like really do, right? I mean, that's
Hmm.
something I've been on the fitness tip for a minute. I mean, I don't have like a fitness program or a fitness course or nothing. You know, there's enough experts out there, you know, online, you know, Unplugged Fit, AJ Cortez, this one, that one. There's a lot of guys out there doing fitness, so I don't really get into it. But I tell guys they need to be fit, you know, that this is something that is an absolute must. And so, you know, I lift regularly in my back there. You can't see it, but I got my boxing bag set up. I got some Olympic rings. I do like my Olympic ring push-ups and dips, you know. I mean, I make sure to take care of myself. And I think it's important, especially as OGs, the older you get, the more important fitness becomes, you know, because I'm looking at guys. I work now. I'm working in like in a very technical field right now. I mean, I finally got a nice contract working with like a technical contractor, and all these guys in this field, they're in the primes. They're in the prime of their game, and they're all physically like in horrible shape, you know. And
Yeah.
so it's just, it's, you know, it's a mess to see because it's not necessary. This is a personal choice, or it's a, you know, I mean, through inaction. So you know, and if they want to go to the gym now, there's no muscle memory. It's going to take forever for them, the guys, get into shape, and it's going to be a painful, you know, slow process, and they're going to get frustrated because they won't see results. I can leave the gym and then go back to the gym, and I'll see results in weeks, you know, and this
Yeah.
is without, you know, any sort of steroids or whatever else. You know, I
Yep.
might take creatine monohydrate, but so, you know, now's the time, guys. You want to get in shape. Yeah. What you guys got to say? What y'all think?
Go ahead, Sadiq.
It's very important. I'm coming across a lot of people in life who, you know, in other areas they they seem to be okay. You know, they appear successful. They might have good jobs. They might even be confident. But when it comes to like physicality, they're lacking. And you know, I'm a big advocate of mind, body, and soul for everybody, especially a man. So if you're lacking physically, you know, if you, especially if you're severely lacking physically, how can you then proclaim yourself to be um, a well-framed man? You know, you, I'm not saying you have to be extremely strong or, you know, be able to run such and such miles in certain amount of seconds, but you should have a certain level of physicality, you know, whether it's strength, whether it's endurance. There should be some physical feat that you're capable of that should another man should be able to look at you and say, all right, cool, you know, you could do something. There's too many men out there who are you know, shaped like twigs. And you know, if the threat if the if a man, if you look at a man and you can't see any sort of physical threat or potentially, that's dangerous. That's I don't think people understand how bad that can be. You know, and I'm grateful that I've from the age of 15, I've, you know, I've I've had a bit of size, and I've noticed that it's an advantage. You know, especially due to the life I lived. It made some situations so much easier for me. You know, in terms of intimidation, in terms of just getting my own way, you know, just going into certain places and watching people have to, you know, their brains are calculating, all right, cool, how am I going to deal with this threat? So I just don't understand how someone could, you know, get to a certain age, 34, 35, and never have done anything. I think it's unacceptable. And I don't think the advantages are I don't think a lot of men are aware of the advantage that it would give them if they were to rebalance or try and balance that side of things up. So this is really what we're going to try and break down in this conversation, why it's important, the benefits of it, and motivate you so that it's, you know, it's never too late. It's never too late, but do not think that you could go through life and see yourself as some sort of big guy, big man, and you can't do shit.
It's been quoted as Socrates saying that no man has the right to be an amateur in matters of physical training. It is a shame for a man to grow old without seeing the beauty and the strength of which his body is capable.
Yeah, 100%.
That's some old school logic right there. That's old Socrates.
Oh, okay.
Them Greeks didn't play.
Yeah.
Them Greeks didn't play. They like them leisure, but they also didn't play when it came to, you know, physicality. And
no,
even in terms of the mind, they actually got it quite right. You know, they developed their minds. There were scholars, there were philosophers. They worked on their bodies. They were quite religious, bit sordid and, you know, perverted, but they tried.
Yeah, they did have some thing with like nudity and whatnot and little boys. But hey, whatever. Some things never change apparently. If you're looking at what's going on in the 21st century.
Yeah.
Yeah. Many men can be physical fit weightlifting, cannot spar in a fighting situation. Yeah, we're going to actually get into that because physical fitness doesn't automatically equate to combat capability or readiness. That is
what
true.
I will say, hey, but check this out. Here's what's something that I learned in the joint, okay? Even if you can't fight, all right? If I can pick you up and throw you, I win. Straight up.
That's fair enough.
So like just because you may not be able to be like Bruce Lee in a fight, if you're big and strong and some little dude thinks he's Bruce Lee and you're just like pow and you just smack him upside his head or you just push him off the tier or you just do some crazy stuff to him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You win. No, seriously though, because that's one of the things that martial arts in particular, the reason why they're so big on technique is so that you can overcome strength. You can overcome the physicality part because you're learning technique, especially with something like jiu-jitsu, you know, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, that they teach about technique so much so that, a lot of the weight factor is negated on the ground. However, there's still, somebody can still be heavier than you, just lay on top of you, you know, do whichever. But you can't, I know people like, because I see this all the time. I see this all the time on social media. People will go, oh, well, you know, if I lift too much, if I get too big and strong, then that means I'm not going to be able to move right. And my movement will be slowed and I won't be as, it's like, hey, man, check it out, dude. If you're big and strong, chances are nobody's going to want any beef to begin with. Okay. And if they do want some beef, it's just, like you get rid of them, you know, unless they're the same size as you. And then at that point, the field's pretty even anyhow. You can't say enough for being big and muscular.
Yeah.
And by big, I don't necessarily mean tall, because I know, you know, I'm 6'4", which is about, I want to say it's about 195 centimeters or something like that.
Yeah, it's like 195, 194, 195.
Yeah, and so I have the height as well as some size, but it doesn't have to be just the height. If you're stocky, you know, or have the musculature, it can make up for a lot of lack of technique.
Yeah. Do you know what it is, Bobby? A lot of people they're talking about extremes, and I think a lot of it is a cop out. Hardly anyone from the general population is going to be like flipping Ronnie Coleman if they go gym. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
You're not going to get Jay Cutler size.
Yeah.
It's not. You know what I mean? It's not possible for 95% of the population, even if they took steroids. And most people, if they train, are not going to get to John Jones level of martial arts. Do you know what I mean? So a bit of basics in both is not gonna harm anybody. So a lot of people are really adverse to weight training because of this stigma, like, oh, they're just meatheads that can't throw it around or they can't fight, and they'll be surprised. Do you know what I mean? And on the flip side, there's a lot of guys that do rely on their physical and underestimate those who are well trained.
Yeah. Anybody who craps on weight training is one of two people, or maybe both. One, he's a person who's never fought a person who's weight trained, you know, and he's never been picked up and body slammed, you know, because you're just a weight, and you can be considered a lightweight to that guy.
Yeah.
And getting slammed, I've actually slammed people. I've been slammed also. It's not nice, and it works very well. Or two, it's a person who's very trained, and so they generally have the combat technique to negate power.
Yeah.
So you find that it's one of those two people, you know.
Do you know what? My journey to fitness is funny because before I went to prison at 19, never touched a weight bar in my life. And I was quite ignorant because I was just like, look, I'll shoot you, I'll stab you. I don't have time for this muscle man nonsense, because I was a scrapper. I was someone that could fight from a young age, and I knew I was strong. So I was a bit intimidated with the gym because I used to see people in the gym that I know that I could beat up. I know that I'm actually stronger than them, but I could see them in the gym lifting all sorts of weights. I didn't want to be seen as a newbie. I didn't want to be, you know, it is in prison. You don't want to be that guy coming in that's never lifted weights before and doesn't know what they're doing. But it got to the point where months after months was going past, and it was like, why not? Do you know what I mean? And within a year and a half, I won a powerlifting competition. The next year, I broke the record in the prison for powerlifting. So it was just like, wow. And then that was the first thing I ever won in my life. I didn't sleep for 3 days. I was buzzing, like, what? How could I do that? And then from then, you know, I've had ups and downs where I can go off for 2 years, 3 years without training. But my base level of strength when I go in the gym is ridiculously high. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I took that step forward and overcame my fear, my insecurities, my arrogance, my ignorance, and I just did it. And a lot of people are in that situation where they don't like that beginner stage of anything. They don't want to be seen as weak or incompetent.
Yeah.
But it's important to go through that and master and humble yourself, because that is, I can't even quantify it. You know what I mean? We've all been there, the stage where we don't know anything. We don't know what we're doing. We look weak. We're seeing people we know we can crush with our bare hands doing more than us. But that perseverance to just keep going, and that single-mindedness of, even if it's your ego fueling you. Like, I used to look at people and think, in 2 weeks, I'm going to be stronger than him. In 3 weeks, I'm going to be stronger than him. Looking at people and thinking, nah, I need to be stronger than him. You know, just that manly competitiveness. There's nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean?
No, there actually isn't. It's toxic masculinity, though.
I gotta address. Soleil said something. He said in America you have stand your ground laws, but in the UK you got to use defensively or say you feared for your life BS. Let me tell you something. There's 50 states in America, and like maybe 3 or 4 of them have stand your ground laws.
Yeah, it's not common.
All the rest of them is just like how you're talking about. If you don't say you were in fear for your life, or if you hit the dude twice instead of once, or if he turns sideways and you hit him in the side instead of hitting him straight on, you're gonna get charged with a crime. Okay, it's very much like that. California's like that. All the other big places are like that. You know, somebody breaks into your home and is shooting at you. You shoot him 3 times, and it's like, why did you shoot him 3 times? You hit him once. What were the point of the other 2? Why was the one down here and the other up here? And like all of a sudden, you're the criminal for the guy that was assaulting you and doing whatever. So that whole stand your ground thing, it only applies to like 3 or 4 states out of the whole union. Everywhere else is you got to do the same exact thing. I was in fear for my life, and I tell people to remember that phrase all the time, especially if you're with your family. I was in fear for my life and for the lives and safety of my family.
Yeah. Rishi has this question. Let me address this real quick. Would you guys recommend de-escalation or fight the threat? Rishi, that's all like contextual, man. It depends on what's going on with the situation. But in general, you want to de-escalate. Let me tell you something, Rishi. I always walk around with something. I mean, this is a box cutter. You know, it's nice and pretty though, and it's legal to carry in Germany. I always have something. You don't know who you're going to escalate with. The guy might have a gun, guy might have a knife, he might have homies, he might be a gangster, a murderer. You don't know. It's not. I'm not saying go through life with fear, but if the guy, you know, is obviously just whatever else, he's like, all right, man, it's good, whatever, let it go. But if he's pushing you and he's not giving you an option, then make sure you strike first and you strike fast, so that you can catch the surroundings or whatever else. Because generally people don't act with they actually do act with extreme bravado without a purpose or a reason. But a lot of times there's a reason, because he has a weapon or he has backup, or he's just delusional about his capability. Delusion about capabilities is very widespread, but in the 21st century, where everybody's got a homie, and especially in London, Sadiq can tell you about this, where the knife crime is very high, people are getting stabbed in the heart and dying on the spot. It's just really, if you can de-escalate, just de-escalate, man. If it's not something that is like really where your life or the life of someone you care for is in danger, what's it worth? I mean, it's ego at that point. You know what I mean? And so what's it worth?
Detis or Detis, whatever, dynamite. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Forgive me, however I'm saying that wrong. Forcing your opponent to de-escalate, that's I wouldn't agree with that. Because you're taking a pretty big gamble there. And about Rolo talking about how women's interest in their men shatters if they feel, I mean, I don't even want to comment on that. But all I gotta say is that if your old lady knows what you're capable of, if anything, she's gonna appreciate the fact that you're not putting her in possibly more harm's way by escalating a situation that you don't know the outcome of. When I was in the joint, there was a bunch of people there for getting in a stupid, silly ass street fight, and somebody got punched and died, or somebody got punched and fell down and hit their head and died, or something that nobody was thinking of. Oh, you want to go, and the dude's dead. And now you've got a 2nd-degree murder charge, because it's not manslaughter. It's not manslaughter because when you put your hands up and you went to throw a punch or went to do whatever, you knew that you were going to be causing damage. Okay, you knew that the outcome could have been whatever. So you weren't going to get off easy. You're gonna probably get a life sentence. And then what's that going to do to your old lady? You think she's going to stick around through that? I'll tell you what, most of them don't. Maybe for a few years or something. Once you get that hell, oh man,
months. You get a Dear John letter. I just seen this question from Dynamite, and can the public see the questions as well?
The one that's listed up here on the screen, yeah, they can see it.
All right. Reason why I think it can get you to above average is when I was a young boy, I loved boxing. I would spend hours hitting the mattress and shadow boxing, and just copying stuff I'll see on TV and whatever. And when I started getting into like real life fighting situations, a lot of the technique that I was copying actually helped. Like I was above average my peers who didn't train. So I was always known as someone that could fight. And that was literally due to me shadow boxing every morning and hitting my mattress. And I used to test my range, just all sorts of, whatever. I'm not saying that it's better than using a boxing trainer, but anything that gives you an advantage. Now, drills can give you an advantage. Just, YouTube, there's so many different boxing drills that could teach you how to throw a jab, teach you how to throw a hook, foot placement, how to work your hips. there's so much different things that if you work on, you might not go and be able to fight against another a boxer that's trained, but the whole point is most people that you fight on the street are not trained. You want that advantage, you want that little bit of advantage that you have over the average person on the street that you'll be coming across. You're not, most of the time we're not training for elite fighters. We just want an advantage. Just like what Abu said, carries a knife, he carries this. You don't know who you're gonna come across. So because there's no trainer, that's not an excuse to sit back and say, oh, whatever, I'm not gonna do nothing. Then do something, learn something. Shadow box, do drills. Everything works to a certain degree. Just make yourself harder to kill day by day.
I have an opinion about this. I'm of two minds of this. You should do something, but if you're not naturally talented, and this is gonna sound a bit funny when I say this, but I mean, just because of the way that most black people ended up in the West, we tend to have like a very spatial thinking type of capability. This is why you find that we do very well naturally in sports, because whether we like it or not, this is the conversation that needs to be had that nobody wants to have. Actually, one sports trainer had this conversation and he got fired. We were systematically bred for physical attributes through slavery. And so we have a natural ability, probably through, what's it called? Epigenetics, towards physical sports and a propensity towards physical activities. So if you don't have a spatial thinking type of capability, and look up spatial thinking, where you can actually, this is why I got so good at jujitsu. I could watch a jujitsu video, a high level jujitsu video, and I could emulate that on the mat immediately with variations of my own that I added into it, because I'm a spatial thinker. I can see things in directions and shapes, whatever else. This is why I prefer working with my hands as opposed to anything else. I mean, I work in offices and whatnot, but I prefer handwork because I can actually spatially, fit everything in a particular place. So if you don't have that capability, then it's probably best to seek out a trainer, because what can happen is you can start training yourself with a lot of bad technique that you have to unlearn later on. But if you're very good at picking up stuff, like Sadiq said, you can watch videos and you're like boom, 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 and you're doing jabs and hooks or whatever else, and you can master it like that, or you can like copy and emulate that stuff. Boom, go for it. The guy on Umar, Tom Hunter on Twitter, he's I've actually done a training session with him and another brother who came and visited me, and he'll tell you, it's like, I got some techniques and whatnot. And this is stuff that I just purely developed on my own that you won't see anywhere else, and 100% is effective. And he has an actual trainer, an MMA trainer, and he can tell you, it's like, I got them secrets, man. I do. So this is if you don't have the ability to take this stuff and then adapt it, like I can tell you every technique that I use and I teach, I can tell you what fighter it comes from. Like the shoulder roll fight, I use the shoulder roll, I tell you that's from Mayweather. Like the double uppercut, that's from Tyson. So every technique I have, I can tell you where it comes from observing them, and then being able to implement it actually physically myself, and then even teach it. So if you can't do that already, training on your own is going to it could be good, but then at the same time, like I said, you could start learning techniques the wrong way, the bad way, and then you have to unlearn it, and that's like double the work, because you're going to always relapse back into what your muscle memory has taught you. So
can I ask you guys a question? Sorry, can I ask you two guys a question? Because one thing, what you just touched upon, it's like I'm automatically assuming that people have a base level of physicality, and the reality is there's a lot of people that haven't got a certain level of athleticism or whatnot. But what I want to know from you two is, what was your journey into fitness? Like, what was the point where you said, I need to go and get in a gym, or I need to go and join this club? And what was your physical condition before that? Like, how was you compared to your peers? Were you naturally gifted, or were you below average, or were you just average? What was the, and how far have you gone into fitness?
Bobby, I can go on for a half hour like this. You want to go ahead and go first?
Yeah, I mean, so I got into martial arts when I was about 12 years old, and it was Shotokan karate, and Shotokan karate is more defense than it is anything else. There's only like 3 or 4 main strikes in that whole thing, and everything else is just kind of like blocking, moving, getting away type stuff. I agree with what Greg was saying, though, because there has been things that I've picked up by watching, and was able to implement later, doing stuff with buddies, and doing stuff, even in the dojo, stuff that was unorthodox for karate, but was as effective as all get out, like when you're throwing those hooks or whatever. I mean, it's not typically a karate move, I mean, typically you're just throwing these overhands, these jabs or whatever, to where, so there was things from watching other combat sports that I was able to implement, and I think that that's largely what helped me through being locked up, was having that knowledge from a kid. Now, as far as like weightlifting and getting big and all that, that was something that I decided to do once I was inside. Once I saw like how big a lot of the dudes were, once I saw like the physicality level of being in there, I was like, oh man, I got to level this playing field. Like I can't be one of these skinny dudes, trying to go up against these monsters. So it was like that I started hitting it hard, and it was funny too, man, because I got so into it once I decided to do it. I got so into it. I was doing it like between an hour and 2 hours a day, and I actually had cops, the COs. I had a few of them hit me up, like asking me if I was getting steroids smuggled in and shit. And like, they were only halfway joking. I know they were. Like, they'd be like, hey, yeah, so who you getting the steroids from or whatever, right? And then like sometimes they'd come by the dorm while I was working with my weight bag, and like I'd be afraid that they were going to take it because you weren't supposed to have weights. Like, you could go out and do stuff on the calisthenic bars, but you weren't supposed to like have, and so like I'd be like, oh man, and they'd be like, hey man, so I've been doing the weightlifting like this with my hand position like this. Do you think that I should go? And these are like COs that were hitting me up on stuff because they saw that I grew hella quick, man. I probably put on, I put on about 50 pounds in 10 months. So it was like, I was just working out a lot and eating a lot. So that it was, for me on that level, it was more of a combat ready necessity.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't going to get tossed around by these dudes that could, I mean, man, there are guys in the joint. Most of them are brothers, straight up, but they're, I mean, some are, white, so I suppose even some are Mexican, but I mean, like dudes that look like they were drawn out of a comic book.
Yeah.
Like superhero stuff. Like there were dudes that used to take their coffee mugs and rest it on their pec. like standing up, man. Like they'd be like, hey,
wow,
just have it like right, yeah, man. Like straight up monsters.
Man,
you look at them
like the pec
and like
pop, and I can't do that.
Yeah, I know, right? So where like you'd be looking at these fools, and you just be like, oh man, I don't want no problems, man.
Yeah.
Like, because you just know, like you could be in trouble with those guys. So it was definitely, as far as the physical growth and all that, to me, it was more out of being combat ready and just sheer necessity than anything else.
Did you feel like a mental edge that went with it as well? Did it increase your confidence?
Oh geez, to this day it's increased my confidence. Like I was walking around after a while just feeling like Superman. I mean, like somebody say something, I'd just be like,
yeah,
what'd you say? You know what I mean? Like, it didn't matter who it was. It was just like, what's up? What's up, man? Like it makes you feel like you're just like, yeah, man. Like you can punch hole through walls and like concrete. So, renegade super soldiers. Hey, check it out, man. I'm not lying. There were some of these dudes that like looked like their body fat was just on 0. man. I mean, they were just so big, and like it looked like, you know how like when you open up a comic book and you'll see the superhero and you'll just be like, oh man, ain't nobody look like this fool's muscle, like looking like that. You just be like,
Wow.
damn, man. So yeah, I mean, it's when you really devote some time and effort into it, you can get there. And I don't think they were getting steroids either. I mean, I don't know where they would have got it from, you know?
The fast twitch fibers.
Yeah. I mean, just beasts. Yeah.
I mean, for me, I've always been athletic as a kid. I always did sports. I played football. I did track. And so I was always athletic, but I wasn't really much of a fighter. But I used to always get in the fights. And so my dad started putting me, same thing, Shotokan. I guess we were the same generation. So Shotokan used to be big back then. I did Shotokan for a while. And then we moved bases. We, changed duty stations. And I started Taekwondo. And I got really deep into Taekwondo. And I got really good at it. And at that point, I was like, I was a full-time, fighter. And you could actually read in my book, The Mad Monkey, my journey of like, dealing with my violence and my violent side of my nature. I still have it to this day. It's less pronounced, but, and you could read about my journey in The Mad Monkey when I was, a violent person in the streets of Germany. Odd place to be violent, but yeah. So later, now when I started combining physical fitness and combat sports was actually in Qatar. And so what happened was for me in Qatar, I started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and I loved it. I got really good at it really fast and I started competing on the international professional level. So I competed in the Abu Dhabi World Pro 3 times or 4 times. 3 or 4 times. I can't remember now. Some of them, because Abu Dhabi does so many competitions, I can't remember which one was which. But I definitely have been 100% for sure in the Abu Dhabi World Pro for 3 times. And what I realized was I'm dealing with like absolute jiu-jitsu professionals. I'm working a job and then doing jiu-jitsu 6 days a week. These guys are doing jiu-jitsu twice a day, 7 days a week. And so what I came to find is my technique was on par with theirs, but my physicality wasn't, because these guys were doing this twice a day. And so what I found is that I had techniques and ability, but I didn't have the muscle endurance and strength to execute them, because strength sometimes, does come into play, and especially muscle endurance, because when you're fighting guys and you start getting tired, well, then all you can do is defend. You can't respond. And so when you have an opening, because a lot of your defenses in jiu-jitsu, they include a counterattack. And I didn't have the strength to exercise the muscle endurance to execute the counterattacks. So I started lifting together with that. And then I started boxing together with all of that. And I started training with a pro fighter. He's a security guard. He's a bodyguard for the royal family over there. And the guy is good. He's an excellent fighter. And he started training me, and that's how I got good at boxing. And just like everything else, just like jiu-jitsu, I made leaps and bounds in progress. When it came to boxing, it was the same thing. It was just automatic, like just picked it up, and I picked it up really fast. And then I started adapting techniques, whatever else, because I did Wing Chun, Taekwondo. I started putting it all together to like this crazy fight system that actually, when I sparred guys, worked. And so that's when I started combining the two, because a lot of people, they underestimate the advantage that you have as a trained fighter when you also lift. That takes the edge. Guys, you can block punches in boxing, you can block punches in combat sports, but when a guy is like, deadlifting or whatever else, 300 pounds, say, oh, deadlift doesn't matter. Okay, well, let that guy grab you and pick you up and throw you on the ground. He's a trained fighter where he knows how to duck, do a double leg or, a shoulder pick up and then drop you. Try and block the punch of a guy who's like, doing heavy lifting on the bench press, because what is it? Punching muscles? It's the pecs and it's the triceps. And those are pushing muscles. And there's a brother, I love him to death. He says, isometric doesn't count, in fighting, whatever else. I can tell you, my punching bag is 200 kilos. 1 kilo is 2.2 pounds. That bag is like heavy. And when I hit that thing, it swings. So it makes a difference. And like I said, this brother, Omar, he can tell you, is like, I'm not a slouch. I'm not slow. I hit fast. I hit hard. And I'm an old man, So, this stuff makes a difference when you combine training of both combat sports and physical training. You know, it's just you have to have the right balance, you know, because the more muscle you put on, the more cardiovascular capacity you need to have, because more muscles equals more oxygen needed. And so the bigger you are, the more you're going to have cardiovascular strength. And so, you know, you got to find the right balance for you. As a young guy, you can probably pull both off, but older guys, man, we got to pick that balance really closely, you know, because you get really big. Okay, then you know you got to quote unquote not kill, but you know, you got to destroy this guy quickly. If you bring down your body weight, then you're also going to bring down your punching power, and you know, and then you know you're going to have to out cardio this guy. So you need the balance, because as old guys, you can't be out in the streets fighting and, you know, wrestling with guys and getting all huffy and puffy. You know, your cardio is not going to be on par with a young man. You know, it's just from, you know.
That's going to lead on to my next question, because a lot of people would want to know, especially for like street situations, what martial arts would you recommend for a street situation, one-on-one, or surrounded by 2-3 people in an ideal situation? What martial arts, or what would you suggest for the average person to pick up for self-defense on the street? But they don't want to be a professional fighter or in anything. They just want to be able to defend themselves in a potentially dangerous situation in the street.
I'm a big fan of boxing and kickboxing.
Agreed.
Kickboxing, I would say second. Yeah, I'd say kickboxing second, because a lot of guys, what they do, just like with boxing, is they ignore bodies and they go for the head. And so the higher you kick, the more chances of losing your balance. And when, you know, guys like high kicks and whatever else, and you lose your balance out on the street, man, you're down on the ground. And that's, you know, that's a bad place to be if you're not trained.
I think boxing is more practical due to like you're wearing jeans. Then it's, you know what I mean? You're wearing jeans, it might be a problem with. What do you think of Krav Maga?
I'm not legit? A fan. I'm not a fan. I don't think it's. I went into an advanced Krav Maga class with Becky. You know, Becky is my ex-Polish girl from London. I went into an advanced class and I was dashing those dudes. Those dudes were supposed to be like the best of the best, to where it's like we're separate from everybody else. And I went in there, I was mushing them guys. I was like, what is going on in here? I'm like, throwing cats around. I was stronger, bigger, faster. I was using Wing Chun and boxing and kickboxing, and these guys were just, I mean, my just basic fighting skills of jiu-jitsu and boxing and you know, and Wing Chun or whatever else for my fight skills that I picked over the years, it was enough to destroy these guys, because they were learning a hodgepodge cobble of this and that and whatever else, and it's like they didn't learn one pure art and skill, you know, and master it. CJT, I wouldn't say take Wing Chun. I mean, I was big on Wing Chun, but I wouldn't mess with it, man. You know, not unless you're dealing like with someone like Victor Gutierrez. Victor Gutierrez actually adopted Wing Chun to the point that they don't even call him a Wing Chun artist anymore. But the foundation of his art is Wing Chun, and you could see it in there if you trained it, but it's literally like specifically altered for street fighting and MMA. It's because it's just really not practical for like actual street fighting. I might catch heat for saying that, but it is what it is. It's true. You know, even I did the same thing. I had to stop Wing Chun, and I took the techniques. I got like 5 techniques that I use from Wing Chun, and I spent years in Wing Chun. So, and I've got like maybe 5 techniques out of like hundreds that you learn, because it's ridiculous how many techniques they have. And there was maybe 5 that I can use in a practical sense in combat on the street in a regular sense. So.
Do you think MMA?
Hey guys, I'm sorry. I'm working on getting this video up. I think it'd be fun to review some of these street fighting videos and talk about what these fools are doing right and mainly wrong. So give me just a second.
Abu, do you think that MMA has exposed traditional martial arts?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. There's only a few guys who are traditionalists. There was that one guy, he's retired now. What is his name? Machida.
Machida, and he was Shotokan.
Yeah. Machida is like one of the few ones out there. Who else was I think Machida was really it, man. He was the only one actually out there, like, you know, making it happen. Everybody else is kind of like
hybrid.
Yeah, then you have to be. You know, and it exposes the weaknesses, and
So that will lead into situational awareness, because it's all good being strong. It's all good even knowing how to fight, but there's an art form in knowing when to fight and knowing when not to fight. avoiding situations, and it's, just life skills. This is something that I believe all three of us, due to our backgrounds, could probably be experts at. Situational awareness. And
can I make a comment on your city? I'd say 80% of London are victims, bro. It's crazy there.
Yeah.
Nobody's paying attention. They're just walking.
Headphones in.
Yeah. I was with brothers and they're like, dude, you are absolutely paranoid. I'm watching guys in the windows. I'm walking. I'm like, why is this guy? I'm speeding up and then slowing down, and people are speeding up and slowing down with you. And I didn't realize that this is just the pace of London, that people just do this because this is the walking pace. But to me, it's like, okay, this guy's like, he's pacing me now.
Everything's a red alert.
Yeah. So now I'm like, I stop, and then I like act like I'm tying my shoe. I'm like, I'm about to double leg this dude. And then he walks past. I'm like, whoo. And then the brothers are like staring at me like, what are you doing? I was like, that dude's been following us for like 3 blocks, man. And when we speed up, he speed up. And when we slow down, he slows down. And they's like, really? I'm like, bro, pay attention.
It's funny because I've probably been adapted.
One of the most frustrating things. Oh,
go on, Bobby.
No, go ahead. No. I was just going to say one of the most frustrating things when I first came here was that I was, I've it's just bred into me to be situationally aware, and that's just how it is, right? And when I first came here and I'm watching everything and whatever, dudes like the Tates and other guys that I was hanging out, even now, different people I meet or whatever, they're like, oh, nothing's gonna happen, bro. Nothing's gonna happen. Like everything's and like that's the attitude. Is like oh, you're just totally safe, bro. Like nothing's gonna go on, and that right there is annoying to me because it's like I mean, the chances that they're right, especially somewhere like here, yeah, I mean, they probably are. But like, what about that one chance when they're not right, and like when something does go down, that's the part to where that's why you want to be situationally aware. I think I've got this.
Okay, cool.
Chrome tab. Okay, share. Okay, can you guys see this?
I'm not seeing. Oh wait, here we go. Add to stream. There we go.
Sharing this to stream, but I can't see you guys.
Yeah, no, but we can see it. We can definitely see it.
Okay.
Oh,
so here's some guys. Okay, this is how you don't want to fight.
Oh my! What the heck is going on there?
Okay, that's not bad.
Okay. Oh, now no, that didn't work. That didn't work. Okay, let's stop right there. This is exactly the type of situation you don't want to get into. All those punches being thrown, right? All it does is it just takes one to either knock you out, or to kill you. You don't. People have this idea that you got to be like Bruce Lee or something, and throw him, or what's that other guy? The guy from Ip Man, where like you're throwing all these punches and stuff like that. That's not realistic in a fight.
Nope.
Like first of all, you don't even want to have to throw, but if you do, like you want it to be like one. Maybe
one well aimed shot as opposed to like 50 missing ones that are going to tire you out. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, or possibly cause more damage.
But you know what? This goes back into what I was talking about with like the difference between boxing and kickboxing. If you watch those guys, all of them are aiming for the head. You'd be amazed at how much practice it takes to actually hit another man in the head, because just the natural flinching, the movement of the head and the body and whatnot, it's not as simple as a lot of people like to think it is. Everybody thinks, oh, I'm going to swing and I'm going to catch this guy. Usually when a guy gets caught in the head, it's from a trained fighter or it's a guy who's not paying attention and he got caught with a sucker punch or he got lucky. But really, if it's two people are actually sizing up on whatever else and you're trying to hit the other guy in the head, even two untrained fighters, they struggle to hit one another in the head. It's a hard target to hit, Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Oh, you know what? Maybe if I were to split these screens, I probably could have done it. Either way. Okay, let's... Oh, this looks like police, or no?
2 construction workers? 3? What the heck?
Is it too loud? It's
construction workers. No, we can't hear it. Your sound is not shared.
Oh, okay. Okay, so these guys are you guys are just wrestling around. Yeah.
See, this is where you need to know some sort of takedowns. A lot of times, if a guy's like wrestling with you, it doesn't take a lot to do a simple leg sweep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A foot, a foot stomp with a push. A lot of people don't know this one. I showed Omar this when he was here. It's like you stand on a person's foot and you push them. They're gonna fall down. They're gonna fall down funny. I mean, these are very easy techniques that you can use. I got that one from, I can't remember where I got that one. I think it's a Wing Chun technique, stepping on a person's foot and then pushing them was actually a follow up that I got from somewhere else, and it's really hard to resist not falling down.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't want to get into some type of on your feet pushing, shoving match. You know, the people they get yeah, you know, and they do this thing like, what are you saying, bro? No, what are you saying, bro? Hey, bro, no, what do you mean? Like all that talking, you don't want to be into all that talking. You know, too much can go wrong in that moment. You know, don't think so much. And here's where people get really, in my opinion, where they get like fights and whatever messed up, is they always think about what they can do to the other person. Like, you know, oh, well, maybe I'll do that. Think about what that other person can do to you. You know, think about how they can steal on you, you know, or do something to you, because you might think like, oh, I'll punch a guy wrong and he might die. When in reality, it'd be like, no, he might punch you and you might die. You know?
Very true.
Just
I'm always on hyper alert anyway. I think with age, I've actually, in a weird way, I've become more vigilant to danger in a fighting situation, where when I was younger, I just believed I could crush anything. But I think so now I'm more looking at the minute details in people's behavior, watching where their hands are, acts of aggression. So I think probably makes me more dangerous now, because I know my limitations. So, you know.
Yeah. This next one looks like it's some kid. I don't know. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah, see here you
No. Yep, see? Don't let anybody tell you strength don't matter.
Yeah. See, if you went gym, you would not be getting lifted like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way a man is picking me up like that and slamming me that quick with no sort of. I'll sandbag him. You just how? How'd you get picked up under 1 second?
And we'll see. But did you notice they got all up in the face?
Yep.
Right. He let
him get
that
too
dude
close.
get all up in his video, and then he just got the body and grabbed him. You know.
That's another thing that a lot of guys don't have, is the concept of personal space and what your ability to counteract and respond to somebody is at a particular distance. A lot of guys don't know this because they don't train.
Yeah. It's okay. Let's see. Uh-oh. Oops. I just did the wrong thing.
Yeah, I actually think you switched videos.
Yeah. I hit too far there.
Well, on that last video, and then we see the importance of actually knowing some ground game. Like the guy was like, you know, grounding and pounding, but really he was doing it in a very amateur way. Basic jiu-jitsu would give you an escape from that. Is it ideal to end up in that situation? No, but if he had some basic jiu-jitsu, the guy wasn't in a stable position. He was just trying to get the knockout blow, and it's like you could easily escape that and counter it on the guy. But you know, hey, there we go.
There we go. Sorry about that.
He's getting up totally wrong. Look at that. Okay, oh my gosh, he got up even the wrong way. Jeez.
Oh yeah, he's all over him. Okay. Oh, here we go. Okay, see.
Remember what I said about not prepared, about unexpected getting hit in the head? They're standing there watching this guy run, and he just like wasn't expecting the guy to actually execute an attack, and that's why he caught him in the head.
Yeah. Straight
Silly. Up. Completely avoidable.
Straight up. Uh-oh. What did I do? I just blew this up. Boy, please forgive me, everyone. I'm learning this. Hold on, let me exit full screen here. Okay, here we go.
Uh-oh. Oh gosh.
Oh yeah. Here's some posturing.
Not taking it seriously. He's facing.
Oh, what was that?
See? Remember what I said about high
And
kicks?
he hurt himself too. Look, he hurt his face. Look, he landed right on his head.
This is the results of high kicks. I've tried to throw multiple high kicks in the streets, and I usually end up like that.
That guy thought that he was gonna like do some Bruce Lee stuff.
Oh my.
Okay, and he just landed straight on his
face.
Why?
Face.
I
have no idea, man. Hold on, we got to watch that again because that was some pretty ridiculous stuff right there. Hold up.
I remember gambling on it, and it could have gone really bad.
Oh my god! Dude, that was his face hitting the ground that made that sound. Oh yeah, you're hurt.
That's just ouch.
Look at this. His buddy's giving him a hug. He's like, "Oh, it's okay, man. It's all right."
What's going to hurt more is his pride for the next 4 or 5 months until he actually forgets that and rewrites the story in his mind.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Nah, homie, there's a YouTube video." Like,
So just if you're not a trained kicker, just don't do it.
Yeah, don't mess with that.
I got away with a few kicks growing up, and then once in the showers in prison, I tried to do a roundhouse kick.
Oh,
you know I was fighting, but luckily I recovered to whack him up. But it was just replayed in my mind, like what was thinking? It's like I was looking for a special move, you know, like I was showing off, like I said
XX triangle square.
The last kick I ever never again. I don't know what else.
Oh my gosh.
I literally only go for the thighs, midsection, and knees at this point. I don't kick higher, you know.
Let's see. This looks like some posturing right here. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Oh, back up. Oh, slam.
All right. So at what point now, for the average person watching this that, you know, is not used to confrontation, when is the appropriate space and when do you throw that punch? Or when do you go for that takedown?
You know, the thing is, when you catch these guys like this one, they're just not even prepared. I think his name was like Master Chun or something. He did a video about this, and although the guy's kind of funny, he's actually a Wing Chun artist, and he tries to show that Wing Chun can work on the streets. And he was showing that when your hands are at your side, you can't respond to a punch. Even from an untrained guy, you're just your hands have to travel too far. Now, one thing I picked up from Wing Chun, and I still do to this day, is when I'm in a hostile situation, I always talk to the person sort of like this. You know, I'm like, hey, like my hands are together, this, that, the other, like I'm doing hand signals. And that's simply because from the Wing Chun fighting position is like this, the seeking hand and the guarding hand. And so when I'm right at that point, I can just open my hands and I'm ready to like block a punch that's coming, you know? Mm-hmm. And that doesn't have to be Wing Chun. It's just my hands are in the position to protect my face. So when I'm talking to the guy and he's hostile and I'm like, hey, man, we ain't got to be like this, whatever else. He throws a punch. I'm automatically ready. My hands are in the position, but it just looks like I'm doing hand signals and talking whatever else. I can switch to a punch. I can block or whatever else. I can do takedowns. So guys ending up in this situation shows that they've never actually dealt with hostile people in their face and how quickly things can escalate, you know? So, I mean, right off the rip, the moment a conversation breaks out and it's turning south, your hands need to come up to a position where you're protecting your hands, have a conversation. I'm doing this intentionally here so you guys can see. It's like, this is how I'm talking to guys. Hey, this is not necessary, guys. Why are you even doing this? Whatever else. The moment he goes for it, boom, catch him. And guys, don't think this stuff doesn't work. I was in a boxing ring, and I think I actually have this on video. And a guy tried to throw like a hook, and I caught his bicep. I stuck my hand out, and I caught his bicep right here. He was completely like, can you even do that in boxing? I caught his bicep. It stopped his punch, and I caught him with a right. This is something from Wing Chun. This is one of the techniques I picked up from Wing Chun, that you could stop a punch from the shoulder or from the bicep. And so, guys, keep your hands up the moment things start turning hostile or turning south, even remotely, because some people are nuts. You might deal with an absolute psychopath. When you read The Mad Monkey, our violence was random and it was just completely like unwarranted. You never knew where it was going to come from. And so you got to deal with people like that. You don't know if you're just dealing with a nutcase that just wants to hurt people and he takes pleasure with it. You don't know, because there are people like that. So you got to be ready. Keep your hands up. And this is what we're seeing 9 times out of 10 in this. Guy standing there, and the guy's obviously running like the guy who knocked out the 2 guys at the cars. And he's coming hostile. Why are you standing there like, whoa, I wonder what he's running for? Is there a wolf behind him? What?
There's a wolf behind him.
And to add to that, like, you know, I wouldn't want to see anybody end up in prison, but I wouldn't want to see anybody end up dead either. So scout, look around for anything that could give you an advantage.
Yeah.
Bottles, bricks, you know, use the world as a weapon. Don't feel like you have to be honorable in a street fight. You don't. You know, use your keys. Do anything you can. This is not Queensberry rules, you know, because I know there's some people who have this whole honor thing in a street fight. Listen, your life could be on the line. If you have to bite. If you have to, whatever you do to get yourself in the, you know, the advantage and get home safely to your family, do it. If you're going to end up in prison, so be it. As long as it's going to save your life. That's my motto.
I'll even go one step further, because I tell people about, like, I tell people something very similar to what Craig says about having your hands up and being like, oh, I don't want any problems, right? I recommend keeping your shoulder or your elbows in too, and part of it is so that you can guard anything that's going to come in from any potential strikes or whatever. You can instantly guard your head, but it's also what Craig was talking about too. So if your hands are out here and you go to throw, somebody can catch you, or they can come in on the inside, to where when your elbows are in, you're like, oh, you know, blah 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 blah. Now you're just coming straight at them, to where there is no hook motion or you know, haymaker motion. So that's something I tell people all the time too. Is it seems very defensive. It's like, oh man, I don't want any problems, you know. But you're already up in a defensive position right here, to where you can do so much from right there. And if you're fast and hard about it, like you get to see the predator become prey, like in their eyes. Like they totally just are not expecting it, and they're just like, oh my God, what just happened to me, you know? So that's a good.
There's a beauty to this also in terms of legalities, like how Bobby was showing with the hands like this and whatnot. From a distance, you look like a defensive person, even though this is a stance ready for aggression. You could actually be in an aggressive stance. So at a distance, people's like, yeah, that guy had his hands up, and then the other guy attacked him. But you were already expecting the attack. When you're expecting an attack, you're expecting to counter it, you're the aggressor, but you got your hands up, and you know, you could be talking mad crap to the guy, like, man, I'll smack your mom or whatever else. Don't say that to anybody, please. But you could be saying that, but at a distance, it looks like you're being the defensive one. So this is also, from a legality standpoint, it's very good for you, because people are going to be like, oh yeah, he had his hands up and this, and this, that, the other.
I tell people that so that the witnesses, you say, I don't want no problems. So the witnesses hear you saying, he said he didn't want to fight. You have your hands up, so the defensive posture that they say, oh, look, he was there. And then do this. Take a step backwards, because you're doing two things right there. If the guy's close enough on you, you're creating distance, right? And you're also in a fleeing motion. You're stepping away from the guy. You're trying to get away, and he's coming at you. So like everything that's happening from a legal standpoint is you were just trying to defend yourself. You didn't get in that guy's face. You took a step away. You were stepping back from him with your hands up, saying, I don't want to fight. Like there's nothing to convict you on at that point. Should it have to go a little wild, and then you know, defend yourself.
That's right.
So for sure.
And don't be too prideful to run if you have to run. I've been in situations where I've had to run, and you know, we've laughed about it after. You know, we like, you got out of it. You know, there's no honor in standing around and, you know, saying come on then, when you're gonna get battered and put in hospital. There's been situations where I've been caught, and then, you know, this is due to my lack of fitness. And there was a time we were chased by a whole estate. Literally, there was about 30 people running, and I gassed out. So my friends were down the road, and they're like, "Come on!" And I'm like, "I don't care if they get like that." I literally was so tired that I didn't care. They got me, but they thought that I was being like brave, like. But I was tired. I was so tired. I couldn't even. I didn't care if I got caught anymore because I didn't have the energy to run any further. So fitness is something that it's my biggest weakness, and I'm not afraid. I'm not too proud to say it because it's something that I'm trying to address.
Is a monster.
I'm a big guy, you know what I mean? But fitness is something that I need to work on. But yeah, if you have to run, it could save your life. There's many people that are dead that should have ran. You know,
my brother, that was his actual combat technique. My brother, I don't know how he used to always do it. He would get into fight with multiple people, and he was an excellent runner. And he would run circles literally, and then catch the fastest guy because he was a good fighter also. And then the fastest guy would be alone. Bow wow. He'd double, give him a 2-piece, some fries and a drink, and then he'd start running again. And then the next guy catches up, and he'd fries and drink that guy. And it was crazy because eventually 4 dudes would be like gassed out, and then my brother's running by like doing drive-by hits. And this is actually in the Mad Monkey. I got it from my brother, but I didn't actually explain this. I got it from my brother. And then my brother's just running around like this psychopath, just drive-by punching dudes who were gassed out from chasing him. It was impressive to watch, and he pulled it regularly. It was unbelievable to watch.
Hold up, here goes another one. Oh, look at there. Okay, so look, these guys, they're agreeing to fight. They touch knuckles and everything right here. They're doing some fight club in the park. So this is not going to end well. Somebody's going to get knocked out right now. Let's see.
You see what I mean? Look how hard it is to hit somebody when they're expecting. Oh, we caught him. Nice, lucky shot.
Yeah, you okay? Okay. Yeah. So another example of, look, you're not getting paid for it. You're not getting any accolades for it. I mean, sure, it might seem fun, to like, okay, we're gonna go in the park and see who's the stronger, better man or something like that. But doing stuff like this is just really pointless because you saw from their technique, you saw from everything, like neither one of those dudes really knew shit. They just got themselves some MMA gloves and were like, hey, let's see who wins in a fight. Right. And that could be dangerous.
Can I add a bit of advice to the young men watching this? There's an art form of it's called leave at the right time. Yeah. Now this is something that a lot of young men don't understand. Hanging around, being in places that they don't need to be. This is something that when you get to our age and above, it just becomes second nature. It's literally an art form, learning when to leave at the right time. Rather than walking towards the fire, you leave before it starts. And you're at a club, you can feel there's tension. Yes, you might want to see what happens, but you don't know that it could end up you being the center of that action. There's nothing wrong in just saying, do you know what, guys, I'm going home. And the second thing is, you even need to be in those type of places where situations can get a bit rowdy. Do you really need to be walking through certain areas? You have to, pride is something that can get you killed. Pride is something that can get you killed. And as I've got older, I've realized half of the situations I got myself into, I didn't need to be there. I didn't need to be there. I didn't need to be around. I didn't need to witness it. Think about your life. Think about your future. That's part of situational awareness, is that you avoid the situation before you get into the situation. Do you need to be in these places? Do you need to be sitting outside of your block with all your friends, listening to music loud? We all know these are the things that lead up to other incidents and whatever. So my thing is just avoid situations that's going to jeopardize your freedom and your health. And that starts from the early thought process. You don't have to wait till you're in the club before you think about your safety. Think about the type of club you're going to before you even go to the club. So
this next one looks like it's a straight up street fight. So let's see what's happening here. Oh yeah. Okay. Hey, first, let's discuss this posture, because I'm sure both these dudes think they're doing big
Yeah,
things. Okay,
yeah.
but they're both looking a little goofy. Just keeping it keeping it real. Here we go.
Oh
Oh
my.
yeah, yeah.
Now all that leaning back, the body's wide open. It's just
Oh,
oh,
Yeah.
and there we go, the lucky shot.
yeah, and see, that's what. Hopefully, you guys out there that are watching, that's what a lot of this amounts to. Is it's the lucky or unlucky, depending on which way you want to look at it, the
Yep.
lucky or unlucky shot,
Yep.
right? So there, you got no technique, neither does the dude that you're fighting, or maybe he's got a little bit better than you,
Yep.
and you get caught with one.
Yeah.
We want to answer this, the mind muscle connection.
Yeah. Rishi, I mean, from what I understand, what you're talking about is hand-eye coordination. And basically there's a point where, like, you know, you have an understanding of where what's going to be at a particular time. This is why a lot of times when, like, especially when you watch high-level fighters, like the likes of Mike Tyson, the likes of Mayweather, when you watch these guys like even McGregor, you know, these guys, they seem to watch Stylebender, watch the old Anderson Silva fights. You know, watch
Yeah.
who else is another one? These phenomenal guys. What's his name? John Bones Jones. These
Oh
guys,
yeah,
they have come to the
yeah,
point where like their hand-eye coordination is like such, you know, on point, that this, like you said, this muscle to mind connection, they can project and see, like, okay, this goes back to what I was talking about, spatial thinking. Now not only the spatial thinking, you have the awareness, you actually know what is your opponent's capacity is to move in a particular way. This comes from fighting also, and understanding fighting, that you understand there's only so many, and it's true, there's only so many moves the human body can make in a particular stance or a particular, you know, standing position. And so you understand his options. When you understand his options and you can like execute and lead him into other things, this is that mind muscle connection, you know. And that's just training, man. That's just training, where it comes to a point, it's like, I used to always do I used to train in Qatar, I call it the Mayweather step back. And what Mayweather used to do is, like, usually when you in boxing they teach you to slip the jab, but Mayweather used to do this like little step back, and like the punch would come, like, let me turn this way, it would come like right by
yeah.
his nose, and then he'd
Right,
spring right back and follow that punch back and catch the dude.
right,
And of course I can't master it like him, but that you can get it with practice, you know. And this is when, like,
right.
you see those guys early in the last video we just watched, where they're back like this. Well, Mayweather, he kind of like mastered it. He duck his chin and move back, and then come right back, spring like a spring. And bro,
Yeah,
So with
yeah,
with the mind muscle connection, it also works in actual weight training as well. You can train your, because a lot of people when they're doing when they're doing whatever weight, they're not actually thinking about the contraction. And I find that when you think about the contraction, I don't know if it's a mental thing, but I feel like you get more out of the rep when you actually make a mind and muscle connection with what you're doing, and you're not just doing it mindlessly. And I've always had a philosophy where I had a training partner recently, and he used to like he would always stop at a certain weight, and I would go higher constantly. But we will start complaining about the pain at around the same weight, and he's like, "But why do you continue?" And I'll be like, "Because it still hurts the same way. If when you get to a certain point of training, it hurts anyway. So what's the point of stopping?" So the mind plays a big part in even weight training. You know, I feel like um, when you have a certain mindset when you're going to train, like you're going to war or whatever you do to pump to motivate yourself, it's this, you have to act, you have to make a conscious decision. And sorry, my brain's gone flat. I don't know.
happens to me too.
I've lost the thought process. But yeah, the mind is important in training. My brain just went.
yeah, for sure. Well, let's see what this next one is. Okay, more wrestling. Oh,
Ooh.
Yeah. And now he's gonna get. Oh, I thought he was gonna take the cheap shot on him. Now he's just making. Now he's making sure like he's still alive.
Rewind that a little bit. Okay, from the point where he was getting grabbed.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
All right. What do you do here?
Right.
What do you do right just 2 seconds before that happens?
You hook one of your feet behind one of his legs.
Yeah. Interlace your leg into his leg.
So for those that are seeing this, I'll try and explain it with my hands. Okay. this isn't gonna work. So essentially the guy's got, if we're looking at a side view, one guy's standing behind him, holding on to him, and here is the guy that's in front of him, right? The guy that's in front of him, if he were to take his foot and hook it behind homeboy's foot, when I'm doing my mouse, can you see my mouse?
Yeah.
Okay, so this foot right here, right? If he were to take that foot behind like his calf or his ankle or something right there, this guy would not have been able to pick him up off the ground. If that guy wanted to put him on the ground, he would have had to fall on the ground too. But because he didn't know that, didn't know to get that hook in there, he was able to lift him right up. That's just, I mean, if we're just speaking purely from how does he not get body slammed right there, that's how he doesn't get picked up. Now, I mean, you could say like, he could have thrown an elbow back on the dude. He could have, broke free and squared up or whatnot. But just to purely not get picked up, because right here he's already leaning into dude.
Yeah.
You see, dude's already leaning into him, so dude's already going to able to get some. So he's got the underhooks. You can see one arm's up over. He's got his arms under the other one. So he's really got no way to kind of in the speed and heat of that moment to try and defend himself from that guy gripping around his body. So if we take it just a step further, and now we see the guy's going for the lift. See, he's got his knees bent. He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pick this dude up right now, and I'm gonna slam his ass. Okay. At this point, where dude starts to feel himself lifting up off the ground, right, or knows like, oh shoot, he's got the underhooks, I'm screwed. He's still trying. You can see with his arms, he's still trying to close up around the neck like he's going to guillotine dude or put the dude in a chokehold or something like that, which is just, all around bad. One of these legs could have technically worked to do the hooking like I'm talking to, but being that this one's a little bit farther out and this one's closer to his instep right there, that's how he could have not been picked up. Just from what I know. Anybody else, feel free to put your 2 cents in.
No, that was a good one. Good to break down.
Yeah, and I'll tell you another thing too. We're still looking at this like an honorable, like we're still thinking in honor and all this stuff and all that. I mean, you stick a finger in somebody's eye or rip their ear off or something like that. That usually stops a fight pretty quick too. I've seen people get their eyeballs punched out, or get like to where the eye is like dangling on the cheek, hanging by the retinal. I mean, I've seen ears get ripped off. I've seen all types of gnarly, people get their teeth punched through the bottom lip, like underneath the lip, like just crazy gnarly stuff. So, I mean, we're still thinking about put them up, bro, and like hitting like that. To where the reality is if it's your life, there's all types of nasty things you can do to people that will like stop the average person just dead in their tracks. I mean, like just, whatever they're doing. So there's always that, being that he had his arm around the dude's head. I mean, if he's got enough throw to where he could have done this, he could have been grabbing an ear. He could have been, grabbing a nose, underhooking a nose, whatever. So, fish hook, whatever,
You think that he could have sandbagged? Do you think that he could have sandbagged? Do you think that he could have sandbagged in this situation? Or was he?
What?
Like in terms of his weight, could he?
He's in a bad position.
Yeah.
The only thing is that the guy's got the double under. So he's
Inevitable.
underneath both the dude's arms. So he's giving he's allowing this dude to use all of his muscles and all of his body to the most effectiveness. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, if he only had one under or whatever, he could be using his other arm for whatever. He could maybe, fall out or whatever. But I mean, if this dude's got a good grip on his body and the guy did try and just drop, I mean, maybe. But if this guy's strong, which I mean, he was able to get him over back.
Yeah.
Maybe not. But to be sure, and anybody that's watching, if you get in a position like this where somebody grabs you from behind, remember you can hook that foot. You can hook that foot through the inside. Okay, so if this is your foot and this is the guy behind you, just take that foot and go whoop, and just hook it behind a little bit, and
guys,
they won't be able to get you off.
In a position like that, understand you're in an absolute defensive position right here. That guy has a very, very good stance and position on you. Your only thing right here at this point in time is to defend yourself from getting slammed. You are in a very bad position when he's got the double underhooks from behind. Don't be trying to I'm gonna headlock and punch him or whatever else. Dude, you're gonna get slammed like this guy did, and you're gonna get knocked out. You are 100% in a reactionary type of I need to protect myself at any and all cost at this point. The only other option you might have, and I didn't see how fast he actually slammed this guy. Can you hit play real quick? I just want to see how fast he slammed him. Oh yeah, it was too late. See, the only other option you have is he had him in a headlock. The head follows the body. So at best, another option, although it's a less ideal one than wrapping the leg, is to bring that other arm over between your body and his, and then push his head as hard as you can with your full strength. If you can get both hands on the side of his head and push his body, he's going to lose leverage because your body follows your head. And so he's going to need he's going to need to do that arch back with his body and his head in order to take you there. If you look at how he slammed him, his head goes first and then he brings him back. You could take that away from him by controlling the head, but then it depends on how fast this guy's going to be picking you up and slamming you. So yeah, guys, just 100% protect yourself if you ever end up in a bad position like that. Don't think about I'm going to be aggressive or hostile and flip this on him. No.
Yeah. Call the ambulance. That's what they're saying. Call the ambulance. And that's what happens. You get slammed like that. Okay. Here we go. Here's another street fight. I mean,
look at that guy's chin.
Look at this. Look at the. They're in each other's. I mean, this is just.
Oh, this is terrible.
Just silliness.
The guy in the white shoes is in really bad shape.
Yeah, let me see. I don't. Oh no!
A lot of Black Americans fight like that, Craig. Why? Every time I see a video.
Oh no! This white guy's gonna get knocked.
He's scared. You can see it now. Oh, he's not scared. He's got his hands down. He's he thinks he's going about to knock this guy out. Well, what kind of?
No. But
a lot of Black Americans fight like that.
There it went.
When I see a lot of street fights,
okay.
Mm-hmm.
See the Black American boys doing the same type of lean back stance. I see it all the time. What's up?
It's weird, man. I don't know. It's just lack of training, man. Everybody, it's just lack of training.
Look at okay. First of all,
I feel like they're trying to add a bit of style into it, though.
Why are his hands down like that? Why is this dude
goofy.
got his hands down? That there is no reason why that should even be a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then you see he's trying to slop these punches. Do you see it? He's slopping these punches out there. Here comes another one. Just full on sloppy. Look, ready? What is that? He's snapping a towel. Yeah, he was snapping a towel at dude or something, right? And then, dude, bink. There it goes. Yeah,
man.
Yeah, no good.
That's just
man.
terrible. And that's the beauty of training, especially if you do Muay Thai. Those guys' stances are off. Most guys, you catch them with a good, knee kick or thigh kick, they're gonna fall all over the place simply because their stances are so bad. And the distance that you can hit with a low kick is greater than he can punch. So Even if he can manage to fire off a punch when you fire off a kick, he's not going to hit you because your distance should be greater because your legs are longer, you know, and you can connect. Man, I should make an entire video series about just some of the tricks I learned. Like with Wing Chun, one thing I noticed, what I learned from Wing Chun, one of the techniques I carried with me is in order to punch, most times, if you watch the footwork, people step in and they have this thing called a stop kick where you take your foot and you turn it like this. And what you do is you catch the stepping in foot, the stepping in knee. And every time you do it, and it's very hard to miss because you turn your foot. And so you have a wider area, a larger, flatter area of your foot. And you catch that knee, the knee buckles, because he's putting a lot of weight on it to come forward. And then you're literally stopping it, and then the knee is buckling because you're putting forward pressure and he's coming with forward weight. But then because you're hitting right at the knee, his knee twists. I've never had a person not buckle. And then they go down, and it's like you're a victim at that point.
Yeah. See, John Jones does that.
Yes, John Jones does it. Yes,
like a shovel kick.
Yeah. He sort of does it like almost like a knee stomp almost. Yeah. It's slightly different than what I do, but yeah. John Jones is someone who actually does it.
Yeah. All right, we're at one minute or excuse me, 1 hour 35 minutes. We'll do another video or another fight, and then we'll wrap this up. How about that?
Sounds like a plan.
Oh,
see,
that one must have
smart man. That guy in the black, okay, he the fight's over. But the guy came, look guys, that's perfect situational awareness. The guy was coming forward with hostile intent. He got into a particular range where he's like, this is my personal space, and he's coming in my personal space aggressive. He strikes fast and hard. He didn't give the guy a chance to get all up in his nose and like do something goofy like grab him. Too close, bang.
Yep. Yeah.
That's it. No talking.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. That's perfect.
Yeah. And you know, I still say, okay, let me see. Stop sharing. I'm like, stop sharing this. Okay, am I back? Okay, good. You know, you still don't want to be getting into fights out there, fellas. Like, it's really just not a good.
Yeah.
More can go wrong than what will go right. I promise you. And if not because of you, it'll be something to you. And it's just it's a bad scenario to be in, you know.
Yeah. And that's basically is that we're not romanticizing being a tough guy because it doesn't lead you anywhere. But we just want the average man to understand that being physical and having situational awareness is beneficial to you. You know, there's no drawbacks to it. It's an essential part of being a man. And you know, society today has taken that away from us, but it's no longer mandatory. But if you can take it back, do it. And it's never too late to start. Never.
Yeah. Anybody got any questions? What should
guys,
I do
you
if
have
the
questions?
opponent is very aggressive and closes the difference with pressure to throw haymakers? What is the best way to handle such situations? As an absolute clueless person to fighting, don't be clueless to fighting. Like that's the best way to handle that. Like you gotta like if that's the way that you feel about yourself, there isn't anything that Craig, Sadiq, or myself can tell you that'll help you. That'll like be beneficial to you. Like you really gotta. I mean, man, if you know how to just throw like 2 or 3 good punches and like can even just move a little bit, you're going to be like miles ahead of most people out there anyway. Really, a lot of them just can't. So I really wouldn't even want to say what should you do because there's nothing.
Yeah, Dynamite.
There's not advice to give.
The best I can tell you is go low and move forward. Like basically go for like a bear hug takedown, because basically when you go low, he's gonna have to swing lower. It's gonna take you outside of his arc of power. And then secondly, if you move forward, it takes you inside of his arc of power. So basically, it's like because a haymaker has to catch you perfectly. It has to catch you very well. It has to catch you perfectly. If you're inside the circumference of the punch, then it's better for you than being here, where the punch is going to land. And if you go low, he's going to have to change the direction of the punch. But that's if you see it coming. Haymakers are usually like a surprise punch that catch people off guard. So you just got to train, bro. There's no way around it.
Yeah, you can't talk through it.
Yep.
You can't be talked through that one.
Yeah, and that's. I had this dude ask me one time, some bartender like gave him some shit, right? And he did it in front of his wife and kids. Okay, talk shit on this guy in front of his wife and kid, and he got so mad, and he was actually a neighbor of mine, and he was like, "Hey, bro, do you think you could show me some moves?" And I was like, "Show you some moves? Like, why? What's up, man?" And like he told me what had happened, And I'm thinking, nah, like, first of all, I'm not going to be liable for this dude, going and killing somebody and then being like, oh, Bobby told me that, this is what I need to do. But secondly, you can't just like tell somebody like in 5 minutes, hey, this is what you do and this is how you're going to win, because it's like more can go wrong than what will go right. The whole point of training is you see all these little different variables of wrong, and then you learn how to avoid them in the future, so it's really hard, and that's I mean, I'm not saying you're bad or whichever for not training, but it's really something that you should look into, even if it's like you don't got to be one of those guys in the gym 5 days a week doing it. I mean, obviously the more you do it and the more frequently you do it, the better you're going to be. But you can still learn at pace. It's better to be learning a little bit at a time than nothing at a time.
Because to add what you said, even that question, show me some moves. You're vulnerable. You've just been exposed in front of your wife and your family.
Yeah.
Do you want to be that guy?
Yeah.
Any of you watching this, do you want to be that guy that has to knock at your neighbor's door and say, "Can you show me some moves?" Like, come on, don't be that guy. You're gonna have children. Hopefully, you're gonna have sons. You're gonna have daughters. Be their protector. Be dangerous. Be dangerous.
Dynamite. Getting jumped by 4 dudes is going to be pretty overwhelming for even trained fighters. I mean, professionals. 4 guys jump John Bones Jones. That's going to be some work for him. I mean, that's just the movies are just that. They're movies. There ain't going to be a whole bunch of like you said, Jet Li and Ip Man stuff going on. It's not going to be like that. I mean, unless you're used to binking dudes in a single shot. And we've seen some videos where guys are trained and they're fighting 4 untrained guys or 5 untrained guys and they're just binking dudes left and right. But in general, that's overwhelming for anybody, so I mean, bro, and you have to train that.
That was one of the saving graces about being in those riots when I was inside, is that a lot of those dudes just couldn't fight, and you would get those single or double shots. But for halfway trained dudes will take out any one person.
Yeah.
I mean, even knowing just a little bit, like you take me and 3 other guys and like, we're going to get someone,
Yeah. Dynamite used my brother's technique. Run and strike. Have a good cardio.
Run and strike. I like that.
I've seen people with good boxing skills dismantle 2-3 people.
Yeah.
And that's why I like boxing, because it just straight to the point. Bow, bow, bow.
If you can knock someone out single punch.
Yeah, you can get good connections with a punch, and it's not a guarantee, but it's a good equalizer in street situations.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right, guys. So we're gonna call this a wrap. It is 1 hour and 43 minutes, close enough to 1:45. Going long shows here. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Primary points are: learn to fight, lift, get your cardio right. Have situational awareness, be aware of what's going on around you, and always be prepared, because you never know what's going to happen when. And basically, if you aren't training now, when a situation does happen, you're going to be a victim. Oh, what's up, little man? My little man's here. So, guys, I do believe Bobby has a course on situational awareness. Is that correct?
I do. It's not so much about fighting or whatever. It's just like a 101 style course, but it is at bobbydino.com. And it's just some tips of the or tricks of the trade that I learned from being inside that I try and share with the average layperson
Nice.
about what they can do. Yeah.
You can check out the Mad Monkey. It's on my Gumroad now.
Yeah.
I just talk about my experience with violence and how it actually taught me about myself. It taught me ethics. It taught me morals. It taught me values. And yeah, you can pick that up, very cheap price. Sadiq, you got something on like? I mean, you've seen some stuff too, man. The streets of London's boo.
Yeah. So I'm still working out how I'm going to put a lot of it together. But I've been involved in a lot of crazy things as well. So yeah, we'll reveal all.
Absolutely. So check us out. You got us on. You got us all on Twitter. We're all on Instagram. You can find us under our names. Thank you for tuning in to OG. This has been OG Logic episode 11, and we will see you guys next week on Monday. We are out.
See ya.